Happy Saturday so far. Wait a little bit before I get too far along. Get some people in the room. Maybe. Okay, so as I said, it's Saturday. It is May 1st, Beltane, May Day. Weather's pretty decent in my place. Scott is in the house. Hey, Scott, how are you? Appreciate you showing up, sir. So as this goes as a playback, this will be a pretty short live. This is going to be kind of a brief explanation and Q&A if anybody in the stream wants to ask questions about what the hell possessed me to do a fragrance film video like the one that I did. So yeah, we'll open up questions or whatever. If anybody has any, I'll give you a brief explanation. It'll probably only be like a 10 or 15 minute tops live, but I'll give it a few more minutes to get some people into the room. John, nice to see you, sir. So I guess what I'll address first is the fact that that video that I did, Rook by Rook Perfumes, part 1, it's very different, obviously, from any of the other stuff that I do or some of the stuff that other people do. Hi, Patrick's in the house. Patrick, thanks for coming by, buddy. So the reason why I have, I did a video like that. So I'll break it all back down to when I first started getting into fragrances, or rather, when I started getting heavier into fragrances. So essentially, I've always smelt stuff in my life, and sometimes I'll hear music. It doesn't have to be a fragrance. It can be diesel fuel at work, and sometimes I'll hear music. I've always figured it as like an overactive imagination or whatever. And it wasn't until I got heavy into fragrances that I started kind of like, it sounds weird and off, but having little imaginative flashes in my head. Kevin, hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming by. So I picked up, and this is where this happened. This was a huge scent memory. It got sparked off, and I picked up Lalique's Encre Noir Au Extreme. Excuse me, I just had some fizzy kombucha, and it's giving me the burps. Back to this. So I picked this up, and I blind bought it, and I smelt it, and I had this huge scent memory, and I was immediately transported to back when I was a kid, and I was going through my grandparents' root cellar and then going to see my grandfather, and it became this big thing. So that was the first time that I had kind of a visual interpretation. Well, a bit later on down the line, I then picked up Lamp Black from Bruno Fazzolari, and when I first smelt it, it was the weirdest shitting thing, like a full-on little movie in my head happened. Like I said, I'm super visual. When I read books, I can kind of see the whole thing playing out in my head. And so I picked this up, smelt it, and just instantaneously I had this whole big thing. So this is a project that maybe I'll get to somewhere down the line. But that's kind of what spurred me on to start doing YouTube stuff and filming stuff, was that I've always been interested in cinema, and used to do films when I was a kid, little camcorder films or whatever. And so I wanted to kind of get into technique and stuff like that. So where that direction is, where Rook, the part 1 video is kind of like where I want to go with some of my fragrance, films or whatever. I can't do them all the time like that because they take a long bloody time, like a long time. Chris, hey, what's up, brother? I just want to get caught up on the comments real quick, guys, before I keep moving on. I think that's everybody. Yes, perfect. So that little 2-minute video, it took me a bit. The stop motion part, I think for each one of those sequences, I took anywhere from 50 to 75 pictures. And those, just like moving pieces the entire time. And then there was the process of taking those and uploading them onto my editing program and then shortening the length, because each individual photo establishes itself at 5 seconds for each shot. So, and I only needed them for, I think I zoned them in at like 12/100ths of a second. So I'm still figuring that all out. Anyway, it takes a long time to do that stuff. So basically, I will want to keep doing stuff like that because, for me, they're fun, and I'm gonna do bigger projects. And if I can, talk to people and hang out with different people and get like some actors and stuff, then I'll definitely kind of roll in that direction. But hey, Heather, how are you? Glad to see you here. Yeah, John, absolutely. Yeah, it takes up a lot of space, and it takes a lot of time to get all that stuff, figured out and whatever. It's rough, but it's fun at the same time. So I thought what I would do before, if anybody has any questions, shoot me a question. If you want, maybe wondering why I did it or whatever. But I thought that I would basically play the video back and kind of just give you a quick synopsis, not synapses. That's your brain thingies. So sorry. And so that way you can get kind of an idea. So this is like a part 1. I have part 2 pretty much written and storyboarded out for this already. It's just a matter of the weather's finally getting good so I can film the location scenes that I want to do for this. And it's going to be pretty bitchin' and epic if I can pull it off. So D, what's up, man? Thanks for coming by, sir. I was not singing, Heather. No. I do like to sing. That's part of my musical background, but I just kind of did the lip syncing part because I wanted the music to do its thing. It was more about the way the song correlated with Rook for me. But because I've been a musician in the past, that's kind of where that came from. That's why I did that. Played the drums, played the bass, did the singing, because that fragrance kind of brings me to this place where it makes me think about how I was, the feeling that I get when I'm doing music or anything artistic is like, it brings me back to that centered place. And that's kind of what Rook is for me. It's a very centering fragrance. I remember when I first smelt it, I blind bought it. When I first smelt it, the first thing I thought was Nadeem Crow made this for me. Like, it's like he made this for me. I know he made it for him, but it was absolutely for me. Everything about it, all the elements. So I'll just I'll play it back a little bit, and I'll get into kind of the I'll just talk a little bit about it. And like I say, just feel free to shoot me any questions. Let me look back in here real quick. And Scott, yes, that was Corey Taylor, who's the singer for Slipknot. He's a bitchin' singer. He's a really cool guy. I met him years ago. But here we go. We'll start it all off, and I'll keep the volume down so it's not too gnarly. But so I kind of did this sepia tone filter on it, just because that's the feel that I get a little bit. It's like a golden reddish hue in my brain as far as the fragrance itself. And the reason why I chose heavy metal music, I'll pause it real quick. The reason why I chose heavy metal music is because that's what like speaks to me. It's energetic, it's driving. Being a metalhead, a lot of people, don't really think about metal music as being beautiful, but to me, it's tragic and gorgeous in its own way, and it's just super apropos for this fragrance. It's like I said, it's energetic, it's driving, it's aggressive. This is without a doubt. I do believe that this can definitely be a unisex fragrance, but this is without a doubt very, very masculine, in my opinion. So that's kind of where that comes from too. So I'll keep moving a little bit more forward. Throughout the video, throughout the film, there's going to be, images that rewind that. There will be images that are indicative to me of like what is contained inside this fragrance. We'll start off with the first shot of the going out and shooting guns. So if you're a person that's ever like a gun enthusiast, if you've ever fired a firearm, you will know the smell that comes off of shooting a gun. And that's, to me, there's a lot of that strength in Rook that comes off and pops to me. So that's why I put that in there. And then the elements of the moss and the woodiness coming into frame. That is, it's very earthy to me as well. It has like a dirt appeal. The Lagavulin, it definitely has like a smoky, peaty Scotch aspect to it, which is why I, visually want to represent that in this video or film, whatever you want to call it. And as you can see here, yeah, the bullet and the whole shooting aspect. So the next part of this that goes in, like the song, the lyric that he sings is, every time this happens, I'm breaking a promise I made to a version of me. And that's the lyric for the next part of the song. A lot of the reason why I had shots of me singing it was because that is a pertinent line to me as far as the fragrance is concerned. So again, like I said, this is a personal fragrance for me, as in it's a reminder of me trying to be me. And that's what that line is every time this happens, I'm breaking a promise I made to a version of me. As in not living my life the way I want to necessarily, or as like a reminder for me. So this is a really great fragrance for me to put on when I want to remember to do my shit. You know what I mean? Like to do my thing. Let me catch my comments really fast. Oh, Lagavulin, can't find it on the shelf yet. It's awesome. Let's see, John. Let's see if I can... Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, because it is really beautiful, and it's got a really great. There's some sweetness to it, and some very beautiful elements. But it's grimy and dirty in a very emotional sort of way, and that's kind of how I am sometimes. So it's very, very, very indicative for me. Let's see. All right, so. Getting back to the playthrough. So like I said, me singing that lyric, that's kind of me trying to like stand out on it. And then this, the whole entire area here, this altar, having different elements, tarot cards, smudge stick. There's some incense in there because there is incense to me in the fragrance and smoky elements. And also, again, this fragrance to me has this kind of spiritual aspect to it. So, and I'm a spiritualist of sorts. I don't hold to one religion or anything like that. So this kind of has dual purpose. Anyway, let me move forward with this. And so you get more of the whiskey element and that background outdoors, because there's a certain pininess that I get out of Rook, just a bit, and so it's kind of in the background. So that's the whole visual there. And I really hope I just realized I hope I'm not ruining the mystique of the video that I did by like explaining every single thing. But I just kind of thought it might be a good idea in case it comes off as weird. And then I get this pipe tobacco element in Rook as well. The very sweet, smoky Latakia and Cavendish tobacco specifically. The reason why I chose the snow visual and the dropping into the snow, it just has to do with, I guess, the feeling. The fragrance has it's not necessarily cooling, but to me, it's, even though it's aggressive and it's kind of duplicitous in the fact that it is also calming and centering. So, and then as we move on to the end of this, the last shot is pretty much, it's like a visual representation of some of that aggression, all those elements coming together, and then just this quiet piece. With the sound of the water. So that was my kind of little, my little short film. And part of why I did this so short and just didn't work on the full presentation that I'm going to do, the full film, was because I kind of wanted to cut my teeth with it a little bit. And I also wanted to make this length worthy for like Instagram. So eventually I'll probably post it on Instagram too. All right, Brian. Hey, Brian, how are you, man? So the line wasn't for you, but could appreciate how inventive it was. Yeah, so yeah, I have only gone through a couple of the fragrances from Rook so far. I still have, I think, everything else from his line sitting around waiting for me to test, as I'm sure all of us have a shit ton of stuff to test out. But I do have Amber from him as well, from Nadim, and I enjoy the hell out of both of them. They have an interesting turn to them. I think they're very individual fragrances. They're not, I don't see them as being something that the whole world would just, be all about. But however, at the same time, with Rook, I actually, strangely enough, I have gotten, and I don't get compliments from people, but I have gotten that I've gotten quite a few, like, oh my God, what is that you're smelling? Or what is that you're wearing? Because it smells really awesome. And these are, people at work, stuff like that. It's really weird. And I've worn some of the more crowd pleasing things to work or whatever. I want to say 3 or 4 different people have commented on it and they thought that it was really good. So who knows whether or not they bought it, but let's see, what else would Brian say? Just some of the older ones. Amber is my favorite, I think. Yeah, Amber from Rook is really interesting. It's an amber, obviously, but it's so different. Like, very, very different. It's not traditional in any sense. So anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I really am happy to see everybody. I'm glad that you guys came and said hi, and I hope that everybody enjoyed that short film. Like I said, for me, it's something that I'm going to continue to do. I've got a lot of really interesting, cool to me, I should say. I was about to say cool ideas, but they're cool to me ideas with fragrances. I talked with Chris a little bit about something I have planned for Zaharoff Pour Homme that I want to do that's been consuming my brain lately. And then I just recently got super inspired to do something for Love Kills by Mask Milano. So I'll probably only release something like that once every couple of months, maybe only once or twice a year. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes for me to do the filming. And if somehow I can get to come to the States, or I could go over there. I've got this huge thing I want to do with Lamp Black, but it involves him being the lead actor. I don't know if he'd ever be into that, but I gotta send him a message one of these days and talk to him about it. But yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I hope it wasn't too weird. I hope my explanations weren't like all over the place. But I'm going to cut this live off right now, and I want to thank you guys for coming by. And In about 2 weeks, Chris and I will have our next The Kilted on, and hope to see everybody there for that. I think we're going to hopefully have a guest for that one, if I can get said guest to say yes. So we'll see. I just got to ask him first because I haven't done it yet. But anyway, hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Cheers, you guys. Hopefully it's beautiful where you're at. It's pretty decent where I'm at. Have a great Saturday night. I know some of you are over from the UK. I appreciate you guys very much. So Kev, Scott, Brian, John, Heather, Chris, Patrick, D'Angelo. I think who else is in here I may not have said hey or bye to. Love you guys very much, and thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.